Jeff Cutler. I'm here with Mike Langford, all the way from Austin, Texas. And Mike, the reason I'm calling today, and the reason we're speaking today, is because instead of me turning into the guy that kicks everyone else off I just got a recorder that it's having trouble recording at too high a rate because I'm encoding a video right now, so I'm going to quit that. Stupid. Do I really want to quit? Yes, I'll do it later.
This should totally be in the show, just like riff like this. It'll be great. Everybody will be like, that was awesome. That's terrific. It's so entertaining.
Okay, perfect.
What the hell are we talking about again?
I don't know. Who are you? So I'm speaking with Mike Langford from Austin, Texas, and we're talking about drones because the one thing I didn't want to do, as I started to mention, is turn into that guy that chases kids off his lawn when they're over for trick-or-treating or doing whatever that kids do these days. But I'm so old that I don't even remember being a kid, so I don't remember what it's like to have fun, to just relax a little bit and be a little lighter on really pastimes, things that we do in life. And because you're a technology and social media and money guy, I mean, loop those all together, you turn into like the magic snowman with technology as the base, then the financial education is your middle, and then the top is your communication skill and your social media stuff. And what I wanted to talk to you about is, first off, what do you know about drones? What's your feeling about them? And really go from there. Make this sort of an AMA and ask me anything, just so I can start to educate what semblance of an audience I have who I haven't chased off my lawn already.
I'm going to be really interested to hear about why you feel like you're chasing people off your lawn with your soapbox on drones. But I would say, so look, my knowledge on drones is, I would say, very, to borrow an aviation phrase, 10,000 foot level, right? I'm a little lower than 30,000 feet. But I am definitely not in the weeds. I don't own a drone. I see them. I recognize their value. And I think they're going to be incredibly helpful in certain instances, right? Both, for individuals and a commercial application, and then, of course, even in governmental applications. Let's see, what was your follow-up question to that in terms of what are my feelings towards them?
Yeah.
So I think on the plus side, right, kind of pros and cons, right? On the plus side, it's like they are eminently useful, right? So, the ability to take videography or scan a landscape to kind of see where things are at a height, right, to get an aerial view of something is incredibly useful. Some drones, I know, can lock on to a specific object, right? If you've got a token in your pocket or something like that, or your phone, it can basically follow you around and film you doing things. Super duper useful, right? Like, hey, listen, I need a video of something as it's moving. Hey, drone, follow me. Awesome, right? That's fantastic. Or I need to take a video of a higher angle, or I don't want to be on a 30-foot ladder taking a video or a photo of this thing. Let me just blast a drone up in the air and have it take photos fully leveled and, with a gyroscope or whatever you call it in their built-in gimbal.
Yep.
So that is all cool, and it's really neat. On the negative side, by the way, full disclosure, on Flipboard, I maintain a magazine called The Cylons Are Coming, right? So and it's all about my paranoia of robots and artificial intelligence. I watch an awful lot of sci-fi, and some of it will make you awfully uncomfortable, right?
I'm a little uncomfortable now.
So, when it comes to drones in particular, it's like, look, I mean, the potential for invasion of privacy is not just slight; it is massive, right? The likelihood, it is not the potential; it is the likelihood.
Yep.
That any Tom, Dick, or Harry, jackass, neighborhood kid, whatever you want to call it, is going to have a drone that they picked up for a couple $100 that can shoot in 4K, that can be hovering in your backyard.
Right.
as you and your wife are, sitting out there or in your house even, and you don't know there's a drone that is just now buzzed down to your bedroom window level or your family room level and is filming you.
Right.
You didn't hear anybody walk on your back porch, open the back gate. A relatively quiet small drone is just popped in there and is taking video of you.
Right.
Or worse, right? Breaching security in other ways, like being able to zoom in and capture passcodes or serial numbers or whatever it is you got going on. So that paranoia is not without grounding in likelihood of things like that happening.
Yeah.
What gives me great satisfaction is knowing that the industry that I actually think should exist, and I thought about this 5 or 6 years ago, is actually getting started, and it's drone defense. There are actually contracting companies out there right now that their whole gig is like, or part of their home security gig is, we'll help you like neutralize zones, either by blasting them out of the sky or sending out disruptive signals or whatever that'll mess with their nav, whatever. I like that. Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to having killer drones. Like I want to be able to, like, from my house, if I see some jackass kid with his drone out there or my neighbor, I want to be able to press a button and say, "Go get him, boys," and have my drones launch and go get his drones.
Right.
Kind of cool. Drone
that
wars.
makes sense. And that stuff does exist. I mean, there's already technology out there where a drone can hunt down another drone. Yep. They have stuff like a super high-end shotgun that can fire a net at a drone. Yep. You can have drones that fire nets at drones, and you also have what we've seen in some science fiction and like spy thrillers, where you can use directed sound waves to completely disable people and or machines. So it's almost
or
like
even
doing
on the low-tech side.
Yeah,
I've seen somebody trained like a hawk or an eagle.
Oh yeah,
to go take drones out.
Yep,
it's
they're
awesome.
Doing the falconers are able to train birds to take those out of the sky. I think the thing we run into is the overblown paranoia on the side of people that think drones are a lot more capable and a lot more stealthy than they are right now anyway.
Right.
And also a misunderstanding of who's really in charge of drones and who regulates this stuff.
Sure.
And the main reason I wanted to go with you first, other than someone that has flown one fairly regularly, but we'll get into this other gentleman's belief system when I talk to him tomorrow.
Sure.
Or Thursday. But essentially, and I have my FAA certification to fly a drone, what I have learned through this training is that a lot of this is counterintuitive and not the complete opposite, but very different from what people think drones are all about. If people didn't realize it, say someone came up to you today and said, "Hey Mike, you got a nice house here. Who controls the air above it? Like how high up?" When you have waterfront property, people say, "Oh, you own the beach. You have deeded property out to the low tide mark. So at the lowest of low tide marks, you own that property all the way out there." Well, that law doesn't really apply to drones, because you can go a micron off the surface, if you could measure a micron, off the surface of the Earth all the way to the atmosphere. And that airspace is controlled by the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration. And people don't fully understand that and its ramifications. So if I'm out flying a drone and I'm capturing real estate footage for a realtor said, "Hey, I want to sell this house. It's close to the water. Can you put a drone in the sky, take some photos, and I'll use that to market the property." I'll go out there, and as long as I launch from a property where I have permission to launch from and to land on, and this gets a little more convoluted and into a little more detail, but if I launch from a spot where I have permission to launch from, then I can fly anywhere within the reach of the drone without any ramifications, unless I'm in federal controlled and regulated airspace, or if there's a a flight restriction, a no-fly zone put in place for certain reasons. Like you can't fly when the president comes to town.
Sure.
They close down a big section of airspace. You can't fly within 5 miles of an airport unless you have authorization to do so from the FAA. Right. It used to be you would call the tower, but now they have apps on the phone that allow you to punch in information and say, hey, I'll be flying in a certain spot. I'm bringing up a map right now. I'll be flying within a certain spot, and I don't know if you can see that fairly well.
Yep.
But the dot on there down the bottom is where my house is, and I am within that net. And that net is Logan International Airport's airspace. So sitting where I am right now, I'm not allowed to fly my drone unless I have authorization from the FAA, because I am within Logan's Class B airspace in Massachusetts. So if I wanted to go out and I get a drone for my birthday or Christmas, I can't even fly in my backyard without authorization from the FAA.
Is that based on certain class drones, or is that just any drone? Like if you bought your kid a drone for Christmas, one of these little tiny ones here, is that the same thing, or what's the deal?
It's based on weight. So if you are under 0.5 kilogram, then you are safe to pretty much fly wherever you want, only because they figure a drone of that size and weight is not going to cause the same damage something 0.5 kilogram all the way up to 55 pounds will cause. The other thing is, with a drone that small, you're not going to have the control or the versatility that you would have with a bigger drone. Like the drone I fly is probably 1.5 pounds to 3 pounds, somewhere in there. And it has a flight time of about 23 minutes. And it could carry a payload, but I don't lift anything. And it has the camera integrated into it. The other thing that people get paranoid about, and you touched on this earlier, is even if I flew my drone outside your window, the cameras on these things are worse than the cameras on the iPhone 3, like the earliest iPhone cameras. So getting a photo through windows and any great distance is a little ridiculous. And until the most recent consumer level drone came out, which is the Mavic 2 Zoom, you couldn't even have a zoom lens on your commercial drone. So you were fairly limited in what you could get. But people do understandably get freaked out. But they also don't understand that the other regulations that are in place are to keep them safe and keep their privacy protected as well. You're not allowed to fly over people. That's one of the main regulations. It's illegal. It's a federal offense to fly over people. It's a federal offense to fly at night. Federal offense to fly from a moving vehicle. There's so many more. Federal offense to fly over a stadium 2 hours before and 2 hours after a game is happening. So if I wanted to go look at the Patriots pound the Buffalo Bills, I can't put a drone up within, I think it's the same space as the airports, but don't quote me on that. But I think you can't be within 5 miles of that stadium during the game time. So the regulations are in place. The only trouble is the regulations for a long time, up until 2.5 weeks ago, were very different for recreational versus commercial. And that's really the big sticking point, because as a commercial drone pilot, you can use your drone to make money, but you have to get licensed. You have to go out and take a test, take a pilot's test from the FAA and get your authorization so that you can go out there. I don't know what I should hide on this and maybe my address so people don't come find me. But that's my FAA license. It's my certification that says I have the right to make money using my drone. the sticking point is commercial versus recreational. If you were to define it, someone said, "Hey, Mike, what's the difference between using something recreationally or commercially?" What would you say?
Getting paid for it.
Right. And that's how a lot of people think of it. But it's not money. The terminology says for the furtherance of any business or for the benefit of anyone. And that's where the sticking comes in, because here you are, you buy a drone because you think, hey, I want to send the drone up in the air and just take a look at the water level of the river that's a mile and a half away, just in case we have flash floods down here in Austin, Texas. And I want to put it up there and check every so often. Doing that is considered a commercial use, even though no money is transacted and no agreement is between you and someone else, but you are putting the drone up for the benefit of your livelihood in your house. So it's for the benefit of anyone. You asked me to put the drone up to see if a branch fell on your roof, or some meerkat or something broke into you. Ringtail, what was that ringtail animal you caught? If you wanted me to see if there's any damage from critters on your roof, it's a commercial use if I put the drone up in the air to go check.
Yep.
So the people who are going out there with a drone and doing a picture of the Charles River during Head of the Charles, if they do not have prior authorization and their Part 107 certification, which is that blue card I showed you, then they are subject to federal prison time and federal fines. But you'll look around, and Facebook and Instagram and every social tool out there is full of drone shots. And because the FAA is so understaffed, they can't enforce this stuff.
Sure.
But the challenge for me, and this gets back to me yelling at kids to get off my lawn, the challenge for me is, if some guy comes into my neighborhood and starts taking away my ability to sell my photos to real estate agents, and they're not licensed to do so, then I'm caught between a rock and a hard place. Because do I bust their balls and report them to the FAA, or do I try and nicely say to them, look, you shouldn't be doing this because the penalties are severe? And they can tell me to go pound sand, but I can say to them, look, it's here in black and white. If you take a photo and give it to a real estate agent who then posts it on the brokerage's site, the simplified version is, if you're not licensed to do that and not authorized to fly in that airspace, the punishment for the person flying the drone is $5,000 per occurrence. Mm-hmm. So per video clip or per still. Okay, big deal. $5,000. You had enough money to buy the top of the line drone. Okay, you get dinged. How often do you get caught? The interesting thing is that the FAA is going after larger organizations. So $5,000 for the pilot, $11,000 for the agent, and $11,000 for the brokerage. So you get $22,000 in fines coming from the brokerage and $5,000 in fines for that one photo. And if more people knew that, there'd be less competition of people doing this. What I alluded to earlier is that legislation came down a week and a half ago where the recreational category is going away. Congress has decided that recreational goes away except for after some training. So if now, and it probably won't take place or be fully enacted for a year or so, but if you wanted now to just fly recreationally, you need to take a test administered by someone who has been either selected by the FAA or the FAA itself. You'd have to go take almost the same test I took just to go out and fly and look at a sunset and do whatever you want. So it could, in some ways, be killing the hobby, but in other ways, it's helping economics to a degree. And that was one of the main other reasons I wanted to talk to you, because here you are. You didn't have any designs on creating a whole fleet of drones and going to make money off it.
Mm.
But now I see a little frowny face coming from you, because it's like, well, then why would I spend my money? Why wouldn't I just ask someone in a tall building for access and use my regular camera equipment to get scenic views from up on high?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, like, and listen to, your, I guess, potential conundrum, if you want to call it that. Look, it's the same in any especially in the early days of a regulated field or a regulated instrument, if you will, right? I mean, first of all, there's a knowledge gap, as you mentioned, that you need to have a certain licensing to use it for commercial purposes, right? Well, that's what marketing's for.
Yeah.
Marketing and advertising, letting people know. It's the same thing as, the closest parallel is DigSafe.
Okay.
Right? Like, DigSafe in I know they have it in Massachusetts. They have some similar thing here in Texas. I'm not sure if it's exactly whatever it is, but it's same thing as seatbelts. You need to have, so sometime on the governmental side, there's a public awareness thing. So maybe, in every store that sells drones, there's a big sticker on it that says you don't buy this unless you have a license, or when you buy this, don't fly this until you have a license, type of deal.
Yep.
So you have awareness that needs to happen. If I'm you, and I'm in, Hingham, Massachusetts, the South Shore of Massachusetts, I'm not sure how far you go business-wise, but, dude, like, it's a relatively simple marketing endeavor. You're looking to go to real estate agents and real estate agencies, and maybe even commercial real estate developers who, want to do aerial shots. Yeah, man, like, it's relatively easy to market to those people. They're a well-defined audience. Set a budget, put the messaging in front of them, like, hey, listen, don't fly your own drone, or your, here's the value of hiring a professional drone videographer / photographer. Like, I'm better at this than you are, so
yeah.
Quality is going to be better. B, I'm not going to get you a $5,000 to $11,000 fine or something of that nature. So, on the extreme side, you could also equate this with firearm regulation, right? Opponents of gun laws will often tell you, hey, just enforce the laws that are on the books and we won't have any problems. Now, most rational people go, yeah, but there probably should be some more restricted usage.
I'm fully on board with that, because you and I have talked 1,000 times about road regulations.
Sure.
If they enforce the one rule, the one regulation, which is no distracted driving, it would wipe out everything. It would wipe out the person who's eating a Big Mac on the way to work, as well as the woman or man, no judgment here, putting on mascara, or reading the paper, or texting and driving, or doing any of that.
So then it comes down, as you mentioned earlier, hey, first of all, whose job is it to enforce? If it's the FAA's job to enforce, is it not local law enforcement? Is there enough resources? Does the average person on the street know that if they see some jackass flying their drone around on the street, that they should probably call the FAA or the police or whatever? And then by the time they get there, they're going to be able to say who is flying the drone. Is there any proof or whatever? So there's, I think, if I'm a guy, offering advice to you, it's like, look, it's great to be, or it's, you can be a little incensed, if you will, about unlicensed drone operators, but that's not pushing your business forward.
Right.
That doesn't help you. The soapbox isn't going to bring people to you. Making people aware that they need a licensed drone operator, absolutely part of the marketing message. But yeah, there's lots of stuff that people don't know about new technology like that. As for the fear, the concern, look, we see how fast smartphones have advanced, how fast internet technologies will advance, right? I mean, the iPhone came out in 2007. Look at how advanced it is.
Exactly.
Look at all the capabilities that have been built onto it since. And we're not even talking about, as it goes to drones, there's nothing that the person who is technical enough to bolt on stuff to their drone,
right?
Such as firearms, such as higher powered cameras, such as loading it with explosives and deciding, cool, I'm flying it into that crowd over there,
right?
At great distance, and by the time the dust clears, I'll be long gone because I was 1,000 yards away when this drone did its damage,
right?
So yeah, man, like it's I think people are right to be concerned and worried about the potential for drones. But to your point, like, look, there's a lot of use cases. On the professional side, man, there's a ton of value there that it adds to realtors and other people who may have the need to take an aerial photo.
Right. One of the questions I wanted to ask you is because your business and your business model outside of doing regular advising to clients who are making investments is social media. It's based on marketing and using brand new technology tools to get the word out. And I've had a similar conversation that has ended in a similar way, where people are like, well, live and let live. And if they get caught, they get caught. Because I'm not going to go out there and stop everyone who's speeding. And I'm not going to go out there and stop everyone who's littering.
Sure.
Those are impacting my bottom line. But there are tools out there that allow me to find out who's flying where a little easier than it is to find out who's going too fast on the highway. So as you advise your clients, are there certain tools that you lean towards in advising them to use? So if I'm talking to a realtor that wants photos, should I be defaulting to, hey, I can get the same photo with a long lens from across a pond instead of having to fly the drone across that pond?
I think unless you're trying to here's where I would say, unless you are at a job site trying to fly your drone for a client and some other jackass shows up with a drone in your face, I would not waste your time or your energy trying to go report other drone operators. I would focus your energy on trying to build your business, on trying to spread the word that you offer these services. I would spend your time and energy, showcasing what you can do, right? I always tell clients, so we do more than social media, right? So it's Finzar Marketing is a digital marketing firm for financial services companies and companies that sell into financial services companies, right? So very often, as an example, I have a client right now, Truelytics, which they make business intelligence SaaS-based solution for financial firms that are trying to figure out how valuable their firm is, create succession plans for the company, kind of dig into like what is increasing the value of their business, what is decreasing the value of the business, how do they compare to other businesses in the industry. So if, as you advise, as I advise to clients in terms of like, marketing in general, it's like, listen, people do business with those they know, like, and trust. We've all heard that type of stuff, right? But secondarily, they need to know that they need to be familiar with you, right? So your job is infinitely harder if a realtor has never heard of you.
Right.
And if they go to your social media sites and your website, and there's not much there that's showing your capability, right? So you need to show that they need to be familiar with you. They need to see frequent drone shots from you, educating on quality of drone shot. Why is this drone shot better than this drone shot? All that type of stuff. You can talk about, hey, as work in licensing in your thing every single time, FAA licensed drone pilot. So there's a familiarity. And there's a competency, right? So you got to know you, like you, trust you, but I also have a familiarity and a competence. Like, I need to know you're good at what you do, right? Somebody running down the Best Buy and buying a drone going, yeah, we need some drone footage here, because they have no money, they have no marketing budget, but they're starting to see that, there's an expectation of an aerial shot,
Exactly.
right? In the marketing material. Look, I mean, there's always going to be somebody who starts up and tries to bootstrap their marketing. You can try to reach out to that person because they used drone footage and it wasn't particularly good.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you can just decide who your target market is. It's realtors who are selling high-end properties, who are in a certain geographic area. You can find those people, right? And just get the heck out of it. That's really it,
I think my biggest challenge, and maybe it has to do with my temperament or my style, because for so long I haven't really had to answer to anyone. Mm-hmm. So I can be maybe a little too straightforward when I try and explain some of these things to people. One of the other things I wanted to get from you, if possible, is maybe a feel on the best way to approach someone who is either using unlicensed drone operators or that unlicensed operator, and to convince them to walk the straight and narrow, go get your license, and then go do this legally. And the reason I say that is because there's a real estate company based in Boston, but they have made pretty good inroads here in Hingham, and they've listed a bunch of places in the Crow Point area that are only well served by drone photography. And so I saw a sign go up that said coming soon. So I called, and I thought I was pleasant enough to explain some of the specifics about getting drone footage, but I ended up getting hung up on, and I wasn't thrilled with that.
So was it a sales call, or was it you calling to tell them that they took drone footage that they weren't licensed to do?
I think I didn't think through properly before I made the phone call. I think it was sort of knee-jerk reaction to say, if you're taking footage here, it's not really appropriate, because at the time I was the only licensed drone pilot, certified FAA pilot, authorized to take photos in this area. I had a letter from them, and they had not done the automated system yet. Yeah. And
so I would, I mean, look, I think just what everybody hangs up on that. If you call me up to say, hey, dude, well, I put it this way. I would sooner rather not do drone video than do business with you with that approach.
Right. Okay.
If you call me to rip me a new one and tell me why I suck and why I'm breaking the law, and then you try to sell me, I'm good, bro. Yeah. Right? Unless it's something I must have, right? Like, so if you have leverage, meaning like I must have this thing, and it's a regulatory requirement that I must have drone footage, and you're the only dude in town that's licensed to do drone footage, I don't think I would like that approach. But like, okay, at a certain point in time, if I want drone footage, I have to use you. It's kind of like if there's only one cable company in town for high-speed internet,
right? You
either don't have high-speed internet or you use Comcast. I don't know what to tell you, right? But in your case, I mean, dude, you go so much further by just diving in and showcasing what you do, right? And it's really easy to go on Facebook ad targeting and Twitter ad targeting to target, real estate agents in these zip codes.
Yeah.
It's super cheap, right?
Yeah,
and
it is.
You can do it,
and you can boost it for like no amount of money.
You could be spending, $5 a day.
Yeah.
Right. So it ends up being $150 a month, advertising and almost guaranteeing.
Yeah, if I get one, it's paid for.
Well, and then you could also, by the way, host workshops.
Yeah.
You could invite realtors down on what's the worst real estate sales day of the week, right? Tuesday, probably. I don't know. I don't know what real estate days when they're bored and they have nothing to do, right? But invite them down to a workshop. Like, it's going to be a nice day. Like, hey, listen, on Tuesday, we're having come down to this location. You've got your drone. You've filed your flight plan or whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
Look, we're going to talk a little bit about taking really good drone videography for your property and what it means and what you should be looking for and what you should look out for, right? All those types of things without sounding like, the grumpy old man who's saying, I know some of you people are doing it unlicensed, you know.
Get off my drone lawn.
But it would be, to me, it'd be like, get laser like focused on what it is you do, why you're really good at it, educate, right? I have this model that I use for the advisor population, the financial advisor population, when I speak to them. And I share this a lot. It's like, look, you got the 3 E's that are really, really important, right? First is you got to evangelize, right? You're very much still in the evangelizing concept or time for this business, right? So if you look at Trulia and Zillow, most real estate listings do not have a high quality aerial photo of the property, right?
Right.
Most don't have aerial videos either, right? But if you go on Google Maps, you can see it from a certain height, but then it gets all pixelated and crappy. But in an ideal world, what I'd really like to see is, what does the backyard look like from over here and from here, like just to really get a sense for the property, right? So there's an amount of, like, you need to evangelize the idea that it's a good idea, that it's something they want. So to realtors, there's 2 reasons why they want it. You want it to stand out amongst the crowd, right? To have your property look really nice. You also want it because, hey, guess what? Your competitor over there, she's using aerial photography on her listings, and it looks really nice. So if you want to stand out with her, you better be using it too. So there's kind of offense and defense.
Okay.
So you want to show off what you have. So evangelize. Then there's education, right? Educating people on the regulatory constraints, right? I do that in finance, in the financial world, right? When it comes to social media for a financial firm or a financial advisor, they must archive their social media activity. It's got to be archived. So in the event that a regulator comes in and says, hey, show me all your tweets, they've got to be able to produce all their tweets, all their emails, right?
Wow.
So
how long do they have to, well, as a sidelight, how long do they have to hang on to that stuff?
It's like a 7-year deal. Yeah. Okay. So it's just like, it's called good record keeping. You have to keep good records, and it's for electronic communication and written communication, right? So they must archive, and there are software platforms out there, Hearsay Social. I used to be the head of strategy for Socialware, which did it. So you got to archive, and you got to have it supervisable. So if you work for a firm that has a compliance officer or a principal, whoever is in charge of the firm, and is what they call a registered principal, whose name is attached to the license for the firm, that person has to have the ability to supervise all of the social media communication and the email communication happening at that firm. Does it mean they read every email and every tweet? No. But they have to have the ability to do so. Okay. Because it's not an excuse, just like it's not an excuse for somebody come up to a realtor, if the FAA comes up and says, hey, you know you're supposed to have a license? No, I didn't know I'm supposed to have a license. You still get fined.
Yeah.
Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. Like, the law is the law. You're supposed to be aware, right?
Yep.
Well, it's the same is true for financial professionals. If, you know, you can't claim, if you're the head of a financial firm and one of your advisors is out there doing pump and dump schemes on Twitter, when the SEC or FINRA comes knocking on your door, you can't go, well, I didn't know. You're supposed to know. You're supposed to know. He works for you, right? Like, so I would say, you got evangelize, right? Let the world know that this thing is important. It's awesome. It's out here. It's beneficial. Then educate them on how to do it, the ins and the outs, what makes a good shot versus a bad shot, how many shots should they have, how long should the video be, right? That type of stuff. And then lastly, it's engage, right? You want to be the dude who's having the conversation. You want to be like the center of influence of your prospects, your clients, and your referral partners, right? So your prospects are all the real estate agencies in the Boston area that you want to serve.
Yeah.
Your clients are obviously the people you already have as clients, and you want them to be, evangelists for you. You want them to be liking your shit, commenting on your stuff. And then, lastly, your referral partners. Chances are you've got loan brokers, other people who are in marketing maybe, or whatever, that might refer to you. There might be other real estate photographers who are like, yeah, I'm not going to go get a drone license.
Right.
So you say, hey, send them my way, and I'll send you business, because I'm not driving all the way up there just to take regular photos. I'll come up there for a drone shoot because I make an extra X amount of dollars,
Right.
Right. So that's my thoughts. I mean,
no, that's very helpful. That's
the confrontational approach isn't going to work, and it's just going to get you mad.
As I'm finding out.
It's just going to make you angry.
Yeah.
No,
I agree with that, and it's been a puzzle for me because I want to break into it, but it sounds, and it is true, based on what you're talking about marketing, is that I still have to treat it like a business that needs to be marketed, as opposed to, even if I'm the only one out there doing it, it doesn't matter. People aren't going to find you if they don't know that you're doing it.
Or if they don't even know that they should have it.
Right.
Right? Like they don't know that having you're at the point where social media was for financial professionals back in 2010.
Right.
And for financial, they did not know that there was anything remotely valuable about Facebook for their business.
Right.
They were all scared.
They didn't know back then. They didn't know what the rules were. I mean,
right? They didn't know what the rules were. They saw more risk than benefit. But many of them were like, "Dude, I'm 55 years old. I already make $500,000 a year. My clients aren't on social media. What the hell do I need this for?"
Right.
So, some of the firms that or real estate agencies might be, look, we already take really high quality photos of our real estate.
Right.
Our listings. We're selling really good listings right now. The real estate market's hot.
Yep.
What the heck do I need drone video for?
Yeah, why am I going to spend another couple $100 on some more photos that cuts into my commission?
Right. So, what's your answer to that, though? Right.
Yeah, my answer to that is your listing is going to stay on the market unsold for additional days unless you can create that spark, that interest, that glow that you get from being able to look from 300 feet in the air and see that a playground is 100 yards away and a beach is 200 yards away.
Sure.
Or the view off the back of this house is amazing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, I'm going to show you what it feels like to stand over here.
Right.
Or approach this house from the ocean or whatever. I'm going to show you what it feels like. It's very similar, in the financial world. I teach clients that, like, you have to, kind of show people what it might be like, right? To experience this or have the goals you want to have in life, right? And if you don't kind of showcase it, right, and put it in value terms that they get, they're just not gonna, so for instance, for financial advisors, like, look, they don't just meet somebody who has lots of money and that person goes, "Hey, I'm glad we met today. Here's my money." Doesn't happen, right?
Right.
And oh, by the way, you also don't keep clients forever.
Right.
Eventually, some of them leave. Some of them leave because they decide to leave. They've got other friends. Some of them die, right? So the question is like, okay, well, how valuable would it be to you to close a client faster? Or in the case of a realtor, what's your average days on market?
Right.
If they say 90. It's like, how valuable would it be if you, on average, you shrank that to 80?
In half, yeah.
Or just even 80 across the entire portfolio, all your listings. You take 10 days off. How valuable is that?
Yeah.
Right. Or how valuable would it be to increase the sales price on average by 2%? Because 2%, when you're dealing with $1 million house, that's good money.
Yeah.
It's $20,000, right, on the sale price and whatever the commission is. But so you got to put it in words that they care. Now, for you, the challenge is, I'm not sure how you research this, but you have to put it in those terms. Like, you have to show the value of drone video and photography in that value to the realtor. Like, you have to show it sells houses faster, it sells them for more money, it makes you more attractive as a realtor to other, like, you might get more listings because you offer this.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know, but you have, and I don't know if you have any actual evidence for that.
Well, I have a lot of anecdotal stuff, and I have a number of clients that just keep calling me. They're thrilled. And for one of the clients, she's not even doing indoor photos anymore.
Sure.
Because all the outside photo does, all the drone photo does, is shows proximity to the ocean and shows what the view could be from the house. and that just gets people to come to the open house.
Yeah. So
and
then
that's
get
all they
testimonials.
want. They don't even care about the inside.
So get her on, get her as a testimonial, right? Get a, a 30-second, like go find the 3 or 4 realtors that have used you repeatedly and go, hey, look, I want to get you on camera talking about the value of drone video. Right? Like, can I get you on camera? I'll do one job for you for free. Or I don't know, figure out what your promotion is, but and they'll say look, properties are selling faster because of, Jeff Cutler's drone video.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? They're selling at a higher price. Like on average, the ones we put drone video on sell it, they get above asking, right? Now, it might just be, this is between you and me, it might be, well, I guess you, me, in the video.
And the world, and the two viewers.
Now, the correlation might actually be the properties that we thought were worthy, that looked nice on drone video sold, right? Because they looked nice. They were closer to the ocean or whatever. Because, if you get a dumpy place, you might not do a drone video of it. But again, if you're looking to go at high-end real estate, you'll be fine. So anyway, that's my 10 cents worth of value.
No, I'll take that. I'll take the extra 8 cents. I love it. How do people find out more about you, find you on social, and maybe find a place to invest the rest of their money?
Yeah. So you can easily find me, I'm at Mike Langford just about everywhere on social media, and you can swing by finservmarketing.com. So FINSERV, no E, so SERV marketing.com.
Okay.
That's it. Find me.
All right, then. We'll do that. Well, thank you very much for your time, Mike, and I'll let you know how all this goes.
We'll appreciate it. Look forward to it. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
Bye.